Okay, so in this video, I just want to talk a bit about anxiety. So you've clicked on the video. I'm assuming you suffer from anxiety, and I just want to do some short videos. I don't know if anybody will watch them, but and I'll highlight a point about anxiety, and then just give a bit of perspective from my point of view, having lived it all my life. So the video I want to do is basically about finding the trigger of your anxiety. So from my point of view is like I suffered an experience, nearly fell asleep at the wheel of a truck, and I had severe anxiety after that about what I thought was being on motorway, driving. I just knew that I got really anxious in them situations, and for years what you've got to figure out is like, what is your trigger? So for years, I thought it was. I started getting anxious in supermarkets. I started anxious talking to people. It just grew and grew and grew like a snowball. Um, but after it took about, honestly, unfortunately, it took about 10 years for me to actually figure out. I couldn't figure out why was I feeling anxious in a shop. Why was I feeling anxious driving? Like, and then I realized I was feeling anxious talking to people. I was feeling anxious. I was just feeling anxious in so many different situations. After years and years of trying to just pretend it weren't a problem, I finally realized that, strangely enough, and it sounds stupid, but my anxiety turned out to be actually the trigger for it was the fear of falling asleep, which sounds mad, I know, but it was really the fear of falling asleep in a situation where I shouldn't be falling asleep. So I had the anxiety attack while driving down the motorway, had to pull over, felt like I was having an heart attack. Um, and then from that point, I got back in the truck, forced myself to drive back to a depot where I had to drive the truck off, drop the truck off. And I drove back to the depot, forcing myself to stay awake, knowing that if I relaxed and fell asleep whilst driving back to the depot after having this panic attack, that if I fell asleep, obviously it wouldn't end well. Um, so whenever I got anxiety after that, I got debilitating anxiety, and basically my life was a pain after that. It affected every aspect of my life. Um, and I finally figured out that it wasn't being in them situations, like it weren't being in a shop, it weren't driving, it weren't talking to people. None of that was the actual problem. The trigger actually was that somewhere in the back of my mind, I'd built up a defense mechanism that being tired was life threatening. So, as mad as it seems to someone who hasn't been through this experience, my brain, not me, not the conscious me, my actual instinctive brain that controls you, like your heartbeat, your kidney function, all that, that part of my brain had decided for me, falling asleep was life threatening. So you can imagine the anxiety, the enormous panic attacks, basically struggling to just live life. But once, and it took years and years to figure out that was the actual trigger, then I could start focusing then on how to try and overcome it. Still suffered, but because I knew what the actual trigger was, it kind of, I weren't all over the place. I actually had nailed it down to one thing, and that's what you suffering from anxiety. There will be a trigger. You just have to find it. So I hope that's okay for the first video. And honestly, if you've, you know, I know it's hard for people who suffer from anxiety to talk to other people about it. It's embarrassing. But if you want to put a comment in the bottom, and if I can do a video or respond or help in any way, then that's what that's what I want to do this for. So don't be scared. I can do a video. I don't have to. There's no names, no nothing. Just but on the topic, if you want to put a comment down in the bottom, your situation, and like I've got a lot. I've been doing it all my life. I don't want anything out of this. I just want to help other people not do what not go through what I went through. So if this can help you, don't be afraid. Put a comment down. Just give me an idea of how I can help, and I'll try my best. Okay, so hopefully, I hope just one person watches it. Honestly, so put your comment down. Let's have a see if we can get a thing going where we can help people. See ya.